Today's video, we're going to talk about the most common PPC mistakes people make with Google Ads that I see coming in and out of our agency with their own accounts. Don't get raked over the coals by having these little gotchas that Google likes to, or Easter eggs Google likes to weave or bake into Google Ad accounts to make you spend more money or waste more money if you want to be more literal about it. So if you were wondering why your ad performance isn't what it needs to be, that is, it's not profitable enough, I'm going to tell you almost for certain why that is, just by these top 10 things that pretty much everybody falls for, at least one or some of them, that you need to know if you are actually going to get wildly good results on your Google Ads account. You cannot fall for any of these things. So I'll explain one by each one of these things, what it is, how it works, how to avoid it, so you can actually end up getting the results you're finally looking for out of your ad account. Because there's a lot of gotchas that Google really, it's like when every time they want to make a little bit more money, they just add something in there that helps you waste money easier, and they take advantage of the ignorant people, ignorant business owners who think Google would never take advantage of me. Because why would Google do that? Well, Google wants to make money just like you want to make money. And if you can raise your prices on your own customers and get away with it, you would do it too. Everybody's going to be self-interested, and they have to make money for shareholders according to corporate law. They can't help you at expense of the shareholders so they can go to prison. That's how corporate law works. Their hands are completely tied. They have no choice in the matter. And to push the quarterly revenue, executives keep getting their bonuses. They got to constantly find ways to make more money from their ad space. There isn't any more ad space that they're spending, that they're selling. So they just got to make people buy stuff that they normally wouldn't want to buy, and it's against their interest to buy. And they can easily do that by switching up the rules, the levers, the switches to get you, the average business owner who doesn't want to pay somebody to manage their ads because they think that they're good and that any extra money they have should go towards more ads. They fall right into Google's trap, which is, okay, yeah, you want to spend all your money just on ad spend? Okay, we'll give you lots and lots and lots of places to run your ads. And we'll make you think that if you spend more, you're just going to get more. But in reality, you're going to get a tiny bit more, but to go along with it. Because of the 10 things I'm talking about here, or through these 10 ways, I should say. So I'm going to go over all the details on that. And if you stay to the end of the video, I will go into some different case studies here where just removing one of these things on this list allowed our company to go from not profitable at all to extremely profitable. So stay to the end of the video. And if you don't know who I am yet, before I get into it, I am Corey. I'm an owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for clients' ad campaigns. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability up front, basically in excess of our management fee that we charge. And we are the only agency on the planet who offers any kind of similar guarantee, which should tell you something about the quality of the information that I'm presenting to you in this video. And it all comes from or stems from myself having 20 years of advertising experience to know what's going on and spend all my time in my day job effectively just managing ad strategy and figuring out what works and what doesn't work and compounding my knowledge over the years. So with that said, getting into the so-called 10 mistakes that I mentioned I would go through in today's video here. So the 10 mistakes are, and these are in no particular order, chronological or otherwise, it's just 10 things. Some of them, people more commonly fall into them. Other things, the impact is greater, but not so common that people fall for them. So I'll just go through them one by one. So the first thing to mention here is not shutting off search partners or display network. And this is something that a lot of people, basically anybody that makes any kind of money with ads knows about already. But again, Google loves to do stuff to people who they don't really know anything about advertising whatsoever. They know how to set up an account, spend 10 minutes setting up their ads. Oh, okay, I'm done. They get you with this. What this is it gets your ads running on sites outside of Google. In some occasions, we'll still use search partners because it will work, but typically not until the ads are working without it. Why? Because more often than not, you turn it on and it blows out your budget and you're going to get a bunch of waste bot traffic as a result because your ads show up on websites that have bots on them because people, they run websites and they try to make money from their website by having ads on there. But the website doesn't get any traffic, so they'll click their own ads. your ad shows up on that website, effectively making you pay for wasted clicks that are just fake clicks. And so if you have search partners turned on, you will get that typically. Same thing with the display network feature, which you can find both of those and turn them both off very easily in the campaign settings menu itself under networks. So that's number one. Number two, not adding enough negative locations, or adding negative locations, I should say. Google plays this game where it makes no logical sense whatsoever. Google, you can't say that you're not trying to screw over your customers, because there's no logical reason why I should have to add negative locations in an account. Okay, if you want to target Chicago, the average person just thinks, oh, I'll just put in Chicago, I'm done. No, you got to actually put negative locations saying where you don't want to advertise on top of where you do want to advertise. If you don't want to show up at places you don't want to advertise, namely countries, India being the big one that you normally get fake clicks through, and so forth. If you really want to clean up and get only the clicks from Chicago, you have to not only add all the 190 countries as negative locations, but also all the other states, and then also create little radii around Chicago so that literally every single part of the world is added as a negative location, except for Chicago city limits that you actually want to target. This is taking obviously a ton of time, especially if you had to do it yourself for the first time and you're not using an agency that has learned they have to do this on all other accounts they manage, so they just copy paste the template to do it into the new client's account. You do need to do this if you don't want to throw away any money. For the most part, it's not a huge issue. If you don't add negative locations, you can make money. It's not going to stop you from not making money all in itself. However, in some markets, it makes a hell of a difference, such as in the restoration services space where you're paying $100 a click, okay? Any click that's not wasted is going to make an impact in your business. Any $100 bill on the ground, you damn well would pick that up. I don't care how rich you are. So with that said, you don't want any wasted clicks at all if you can get it. And Google, to make more money, will have your ads show up outside the areas. That's why they're doing this. And so they can sell more ad space to people. Ultimately, what they do is they find ad space nobody wants. They add a new feature or change to the system so that the people that are currently advertising now advertise there to buy up the unwanted inventory. And then now Google makes more money at the expense of essentially the business owner. So you have to add negative locations if you don't want any clicks outside the area. Percentage-wise, though, it varies by market. In the restoration services space, we're talking like 10%. Some markets, it can be 50%. We've had a client in the Windows space, half the clicks were coming from outside the area that we weren't supposed to. Same thing in the home buyer, cash for homes buying space, where people are wholesaling buying houses, looking for people that are trying to sell their home fast for cash. So there's just a couple of markets where that's happened at a huge level. Number three, not looking for click fraud. Now, this is a huge, huge problem nowadays. When I first started this firm 10 years ago plus, there wasn't really any issue with click fraud. Yeah, you heard about it, but nobody really cared. Nowadays, if you do not know how to battle click fraud, you cannot make money at all in 80% of local service markets and any kind of national service market with any kind of reasonable competition. It seems like the very first thing people do when they try to make more money from their ads and they're unable to do it, they start clicking on all their competitors' ads. Fundamentally, if you have no conscience, it's really smart. It's easier to click someone's ads than hiring an expensive as hell ad strategist to come in and help you figure out how to put together a better ad strategy. Not only that, but there's software out there that's out-of-the-box software. You don't have to create a autonomous, manually created script, custom script to click your competitors' ads, and then have contacts that you can then get access to a botnet and so forth. They got self-contained software that does all this now. Traffic Bot Pro is just one that I've reviewed on this channel. Not to say that I do it, I just have been aware of the issue, and you got to learn how these guys do it to block it. This is rampant. In any market where there's high cost per click, this is almost for sure going to happen to you, because there's going to be at least one person in your market that wants to win at all costs, and they're going to do it to you. In e-commerce markets where you're paying $1 or $2 per click, generally speaking, it doesn't generally happen. Okay, it's mostly high dollar cost per click service markets, but it doesn't mean it can't happen either. It's just less common. How do you know if you got click fraud? Well, you have to be able to understand that you have to go into your traffic logs and see patterns, unusual patterns at a search term level, audience level, and the like. And you got to be able to find it. You got to be able to filter it out. And it's going to cut part of your potential, but it's better than making no money, because if a click fraud guy gets a hold of your campaign, you ain't making money no matter what. No matter what you do. You got to get rid of it, cut the cancer out to get back to making money again. Using click fraud software ain't going to fix your situation 99% of the time. It's a nice to have to just cover all your bases, but it's not going to hit you with the new kinds of click fraud that cycle through different IP addresses, which makes most click fraud softwares, or all click fraud softwares, completely obsolete. Okay, and they use botnets. Botnets are where a computer gets hacked, somebody downloads an extension or something that's got something embedded within it. That computer then is by the person who owns the extension, turns that computer into a slave device that they can access it at any time. They do this to 10,000 computers. They go to somebody who wants to rent those computers for some nefarious means, of which goes to some guy who likes to do click fraud. And then through the click fraud software, they'll access the botnet. And that's why they're able to change the IPs and actually get through Google systems without Google knowing, or basically Google doesn't mostly care if click fraud goes on, because it makes them more money and they don't care. You got computers all over the country or whatever clicking your ads. These people, they don't even know that it's happening on their devices, which is what makes click fraud software not effective against it. Broad match keywords. Okay, so broad match keywords in and itself isn't a scam, I would say. However, Google's representation that the default on an account now is broad match is what you're going to have. So if you type in brown shoes as a keyword, it's going to be in broad match by default, which means there's no quotes or brackets around it, which means that if anything people type in is even remotely related to brown shoes, your ad's going to show up. It could be poop stain shoes or whatever. It's ridiculous how broad match keywords are now, to the point where basic person has no business whatsoever using broad match keywords when they first start advertising, because it's going to blow through all your budget right away and you're not going to have any results. What people will do though is they'll use exact match, like I advise all the time on this channel to do, and then they won't get enough click fraud or click volume, and they'll revert back to broad match to get more clicks, and they do that because they don't want to put the work in to make their ads have a higher click-through rate. If your ads don't have good click-through rates, good conversion rates, Google's not going to want to promote you as much, and you're only going to get so much action. So the way that you really make money and get a really good ROI is you focus on a tight audience, and then you do absolutely freaking everything you can to get people to click and convert. That's where the money's at, not running your ads super broad and take that approach, because you're probably never going to make a positive ROI on your campaign doing that. Now that said, eventually you can come back and do broad match keywords when exact and phrase match can't make you another dime because you've squeezed out every tiny remnant of value out of those keywords. Then you add broad match in a separate campaign by itself, which has tight reins on it. It's set at a very low budget per day, so that if it doesn't work for a very, very long time, it doesn't affect your business in a considerable way. Eventually it will get profitable, and then you can add some more top line revenue to your business that you couldn't have got with broad match. But that's the only scenario people should be using it, and I do mean that. Number 5, adding too many or not enough negatives. You probably know what negative keywords are, but issue is people usually add too much or too little. You add too few negative keywords, when you go into the search terms report, you're gonna have a bunch of stuff showing there that you shouldn't show for. If you add too many, you're gonna start adding blockages on stuff that you don't want blocked. You can go and do a keyword diagnosis to see if any keywords you have now are blocked by adding too many negative keywords. But in a lot of cases as well, people think I only want to show up for when somebody types in brown shoes for sale. If they just type in brown shoes, I don't want my ad to show up. When really brown shoes some portion of that brown shoe traffic would have been profitable if you would have just advertised on it for a while, let the algorithm find out what portion of the brown shoe traffic is profitable, find it, then you got that trickle of positive, the sales you're going to get from that brown shoe traffic from then on, versus shutting it down right away and you never eventually get anything from that keyword. So that's the issue with adding too many. So you got to find the middle ground. What's going to get your search terms report to look clean while not blocking too much where it's going to hurt your long-term potential. I won't speak too much more on that. I'll go on to number 6 here. No offer. So a lot of you guys who offer, let's say you sell brown shoes. You say, okay, someone's looking for brown shoes. I sell them. Here they are. Buy them or not buy them. That's not going to get you nowhere near the profit of having an offer. Brown shoes, 10% off. Brown shoes, buy two, get one for free. Brown shoes, click here to talk to a brown shoe consultant to make sure you get the right brown shoes for your needs. Something so that they actually have reason to respond right away other than buy or not buy. Because you're always going to leave money on the table that way. And in a lot of markets, it's not going to be profitable not to have an offer, such as in getting some freaking balls and doing stuff like 200% money back guarantee. Or if we don't have the lowest price for you, we'll give you a $100 Outback Steakhouse gift card for wasting your time. Stuff like that. Why? Because this gets people excited. And when it comes down to when you're trying to make your ads work and you got to have a higher click-through rate and a higher conversion rate than your competition, it makes an easy way to beat everybody. Because on the ad, you could say something that excites them. So when there's 4 ads at the top of Google and you got to decide what one to click on, one stands out right away. On the landing page, I've never seen anybody offer a guarantee like that. I'm going to respond. And then Google's going to see it, favor you, give you more clicks for a cheaper cost. They're going to give you a higher quality click. They're going to hold back all the people that are the highest, most likely to convert people for the people that advertise the best with them. They have the best click-through rates and the best conversion rates historically because they want to give all the benefits they can to the people that do the best job for their users, so their users will come back and search and click on ads again in the future or be more likely to. So they actually play this game where they filter the traffic for the good person they want to stay around, and the person they don't care if they stay around, they give them all the traffic. And so it's extremely hard to make money when you're not on Google's good side. And so naturally with that, you have to do enough to actually get on Google's side or good side, or you're just wasting your time essentially. The offer is just one way to have that competitive advantage against your competition if you don't know how to write the best ad, best landing page, whatever, which you can go that route with it as well and not have the better offer. It's just one extra way you can do it, technically. If you want to have those techniques that will right away for sure beat your competition every time, and I know because I know what people are willing to do and what works, and you put the work in, you can beat your competition every time. That's not an embellishment. You want to subscribe to this channel because all that information is laid out for free on this channel. It's coming from somebody who's set up thousands of campaigns now in the last 20 years. So all the little tricks about what you need to do to get there is on this channel, and it comes from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy as my sole job. So therefore, and with most of the information you see on YouTube, it comes from people who don't even run any ads. So they're just trying to sell you a course or whatever the hell. Also though, along with that, I have a great blog on my site. You can find my blog, which has step-by-step instructions on how to guarantee results for yourself as we do it for clients that are firm. You can find that blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. And has screenshots. Everything you need to execute the strategies we're using at our firm to guarantee results is there. So, which, if you like the channel, you're going to like the blog as well. So you should check that out as well. With that said, going back to what I was saying here, number 7 on the list is not shutting off optimized targeting. So if you run a display campaign in particular, which most people who run display campaigns are going to get those to work because they don't know about offer creation and being exciting enough so when somebody sees your banner ad, they're going to actually give it. If you have a good offer, then where it's not the product or service itself, but it's transforming it in better packaging, or it might be a really good product and you can advertise it as is, if it's exciting enough as is. It's a new technology, whatever. Ultimately, you have that display campaign, you're running it. Optimized targeting, if that's not unchecked, instead of Google running your ad in front of the people who are interested in pool tables, they're in market for a pool table and you sell pool tables, what Google's going to ultimately do is run your ad to wherever the hell they want, which is, let's run your ad in front of people that nobody else wants to advertise to those people so we can sell those ad spots, and you're going to end up getting your money wasted right away. Or at the very least, if you want to give Google credit here, they'll advertise it to more people than they need to, which you just want them to advertise to the people that have recently looked for a pool table for sale. And that's it. Because you only have a little bit of money that you have to get working, and got to get it working quickly. Otherwise, you're going to run out of money and you're never going to have a chance to advertise anymore. So you want to start conservative. Eventually, if you can't get any more out of your campaign, then you could turn on optimized targeting. But if not, it's going to be extremely hard to make money, and it'll probably just blow your whole wad right away. No chance to have it work. Number 8, no offline tracking for lead gen. So if you're generating leads, that is, you don't have an e-commerce site where you're selling through and trying to get orders through your shopping cart, you need to have what is known offline conversion tracking. That is, you're tracking whether a lead turns into a sale or the lead is at least verified as qualified, so you can track it inside your ad account so that the bidding system, whether you're running display campaigns, YouTube, whatever it is going to steer your campaign in the general direction of what's getting you results. Qualified leads, not leads, but qualified leads, or ideally sales. Because if not, what you're going to ultimately pay for is the cheapest leads, and the cheapest leads are never going to be the best leads. And if you plan on making money running display campaigns and YouTube campaigns, if you don't want a bunch of bots clicking your ads and you have a bunch of bot leads as a result, because these bots are sophisticated enough to click through your ad, fill out a form, make it look like their website converts well, but it doesn't. It's just a bot and they're trying to scam you. Then you got to be able to track if a lead's qualified or not and plug that back into your ad account. If you have that, then it gets to be very easy to make money. Either it got me a qualified lead or it didn't. Otherwise, you're just going to get a bunch of leads, essentially. And this also applies even with Google search campaigns. And for that matter, bot traffic's not so bad on Google search campaigns, but you'll make even more money if you track on a qualified lead level or a sale level, and you'll make 3 times as much money long-term on average, optimizing for what's getting you profit versus what's getting you a certain cost per lead. Because certain leads are worth a lot more than other leads. They converted at a higher rate, obviously, but then they also a lot of times spend more money than your average lead. And the only way to squeeze out every dollar of value you can out of the ads in your market on Google search is to be able to spend as much as what the leads are worth. These leads over here that are normally worth 10 times as much as the average lead, you need to be able to upbid so that you don't get just a small sliver of the traffic, but you get all of it. Only way to do that is to actually track what sells, what doesn't. Get that into your ad account so the bidding system, the smart bidding that Google has, can grab a hold of that data and get you the results that you're looking for and therefore scale more for yourself or just get you to an ROI that you need. Number 9, no dynamic call tracking. A lot of guys or gals don't even track their phone calls if they're doing a lead generation campaign. They just track form fills, which is terrible. If you track phone calls, most people, 80% of people, aren't going to track true phone calls. They're just going to track, in other words, somebody who clicks on the phone number and they count that as a call. Problem is there's a bunch of bot clicks and you're going to get false data. And when the algorithm that's supposed to be set up to get you results, they'll look at what's worked and what doesn't work so they can do more of what works and less of what doesn't. When you have false data in there, it's going to make wrong decisions and you're just a lot of times not going to get anywhere. You got to be able to have what is called dynamic call tracking, where when somebody goes to your webpage, the number on their screen is automatically replaced with a tracking number that when they call that tracking number, it automatically captures all the details about that user, their keyword they typed in, the campaign they came from, the location they came from, on and on and on and on and on. Pass that information back into your Google Ads account so the algorithm, again, can optimize based upon what's actually working. That is, i.e., what's actually getting you phone calls. If you just optimize for completed form fill leads and you don't track phone calls, it's, again, only going to get part of the picture. You got to have both tracked and you got to have real phone calls tracked. That is somebody who actually picked up the phone and called, not they just simply clicked on the number because of the bot issue. So if you're not sure how to set that kind of thing up, you can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com and I can for sure set that up for you, as well as give you a dozen of other ways that you can make a lot more money with your ads with the techniques we know about here at our firm, and can give you a guarantee of results along with it about what we can guarantee for you in terms of projection, so forth. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. Beyond that, we've also got templates for sale. If we've worked in your niche market before, you'd be doing yourself a huge freaking favor buying the actual template that works for your niche market that we use to sell whatever you sell in a different geographic area, different city, different country, whatever. We got people using these templates to start whole other businesses from scratch. They work so well. Literally taking the template, installing it in their ad accounts on Google, Facebook, and so forth, with the landing page, with everything, and they take the leads because they're coming in so cheap and they sell the leads after marketing them up to other businesses and have a great passive income business. We've got several people doing exactly that with our templates already. This is why I bring it up. But you could actually just answer the phone and sub out the work. Hey, yes, this is Mike's tree service. Then go, hey, Jeff, will you do this job? I just booked a job. Boom. just play connector. Or you could sell product. If you don't know how to sell product, start with a template out of our dozens of templates we have selling product, an e-commerce business, and have a turnkey business because you have the working campaigns that work for that to sell that product right up front, of which we can tell you the results you're going to get with it right up front. We've worked in over 100 plus different niche markets, so the chances are quite good. We've already worked in your market, or if you want to work and start a different business up, that's the best place to start, frankly. So anyway, with that said, and if you have any questions about anything I'm covering here today, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment or question on this channel, typically within 24 hours time. Number 10 on this list is no offline revenue uploads for e-commerce. Well, a lot of e-commerce businesses, they think, oh, I just need to track everything that's going through the shopping cart. And the people who call me up, in which I put their credit card order through the phone, I don't need to track those people. That's if phone orders where they call you up to order, whether you're putting it through a virtual terminal, credit card processing terminal, or you're putting the order through for them on the website, either way, 10% of the orders go through in either of those ways or more, you got a major issue because the algorithm is going to get confused, not understanding people that they thought were good quality prospects that should buy, that didn't buy, but they did buy. You just didn't feed the correct data into the ad account for the algorithm to see it. If you want more results out of Google Ads, number one way to do it is to have better quality data about what works and what doesn't work, and that's it. It's silly or pointless to try to do anything else until you get that fixed first, because half your results are predicated on history of the campaign and the amount of data and the quality of the data you've racked up in your account. Actually, more. If you wanted to get technical about it, 80% of your results is down to exactly that long term. You can do it now, or you're going to do it later when you get stuck in terms of where you're at. You might as well start doing it now because you need a certain amount of data to really make the millions in your space doing Google Ads. The longer you wait to do this, the more money you're ultimately wasting, because half the value out of your ad spend is just in the data collection. The other half is the sales you immediately get from it. Truly. Anyway, you can track the sales that come in through the phone using a simple call rail tracking account. When somebody calls in, you'll find a Google Click ID related to that call in the program, which you can then feed back to Google Ads. And then you can, inside your ad account, when you're done, is see, okay, here's how much cart sales I had. Here's how much faux sales I had. Google, when you're optimizing for profit, consider both sources of revenue as the same. Right away, you're going to get a lot more results that way. Okay? So very few people out there do this. When you do it and your competitors don't, it's like having night vision goggles and you're going to war at night. It's like you can see what they can't see, which in fact, this also, you may be saying, this doesn't matter that much. The bigger orders trend to go through the phone, not through the cart, because they want to feel confident about their purchase and that if they have a problem with their order later, that they're going to be able to get someone on the damn phone. So what you'll end up finding is the phone orders trend 50% or so more per transaction than the cart sales. So what happens when you don't import your phone sales into your ad account is the algorithm is going to actively optimize for the smaller customers. And the big whale customers you really want, they're going to optimize against them. So why would you not want to take this seriously? Ultimately, regardless of your situation, if you're stuck at where you're at in terms of your revenue, maybe it's their tracking issue, maybe it's your ads, maybe it's something else. If you reach out to me and request a coaching call, in 30 minutes, I can pin down exactly what the bottleneck is in your business, and I'm excellent at doing this for other companies because I've done it hundreds of times now, and I can go through your entire website, look at it, pricing strategy, sales strategy, and then tell you with 95% certainty what you're stuck on and what you need to work on. And I've been doing this because a lot of you guys have trouble with making your ads work, and really you have to patch up your website or your phone handling process first or something and get that fixed. And once you do, the ads will just start working again. Instead of banging your head against the wall, you should be fixing that first. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com for that kind of coaching. In the few months that I've been starting to do these coaching calls, every single person who's gotten it has come back for another coaching call, literally. So which should tell you something about the coaching calls that I do and how valuable they are. If you're interested in that, let me know. But with that said, I am going to basically give you a couple case studies here before I wrap this up. Now, ultimately, click fraud, we had an issue, to give you a quick case study on that, for a restoration services company that does flood water removal. We had a client who was making money with their ads, okay money. We rebuilt the campaigns. The competitor saw the new campaigns that we created were really, really good and started hitting our new campaigns with click fraud. It actually brought the campaign from producing several leads a week to none. It affected us that much. We actually went ahead and we adjusted and added some filters on the audience level to the account, and we got back to where we were. Then a little bit later, we got some more click fraud. It in itself didn't fix it by itself. So what did we do? We went ahead in the search terms report and we found terms that were really long terms that were getting searched a lot, which was a clue as to what we needed to block. We blocked all those and we added smart bidding. The client was against smart bidding before this, which I always use it by default because it makes the most money. We did that. That finally fixed the click fraud for good. Then we went, so that few leads a week led to 10 plus leads a week, and then it just kept going up from there. This is a very common scenario when it comes to click fraud. You'll start out, you'll be okay, the competitor finds you or gets jealous of you or whatever, then your results are going to go down and just completely tank. And then you'll get things fixed, and then they'll do it to you again. And you got to be able to patch up all the holes, and then eventually when they're all patched, you're good, you're solid. But you got to know what you're doing, and if you don't know anything about click fraud, basically good luck. But the good thing is, if you reach out to myself, I know all the tricks to get this fixed for the most part, 99% of the time. Sometimes the click fraud's so sophisticated, you actually have to take legal action against a competitor to be able to figure out what the hell to do, because Google's not going to help you. So that's the one case study here. Now, in terms of revenue tracking on an e-commerce account, okay, we ran an e-commerce company that sold furniture, and we were able to get that company up to about $8 million a year without doing any phone call tracking. And that was before we were brought on as an agency to help this particular company. One of the main things that I told this company to do was just what I just got done saying, which is if you want to get bigger customers in and to find where there's opportunity where before you didn't see it because you were only willing to pay so much for a customer and that's it, and not upload your phone sales to the account, you're only going to get so much potential from this account. Just by getting the offline orders into the account, and where the shopping campaigns that primarily work for them were basically maxed out, they plateaued on the results, that re-woke those campaigns up where we were able to start scaling the spend again and at the ROI that the campaigns were at before and that we had to keep in order to be profitable at our agency at around 600% ROAS, or return on investment. We went in that very first year from 8 million to close to 9, then 9. The next year we went up a little bit more, about 9.5 to 10, and it just kept going. Just by racking up more data in the ad account, that was all it simple. That one thing alone opened up tons of opportunity, which is one of many techniques that I talk about on this channel all the time that you can do that regularly work. That is one of them. So that's another little case study, but a lot of this stuff happens all the time. The biggest one that I would say that happens to most people is search partners and display network being forgot to be turned off itself, or optimized targeting forget to be turned off, and people using broad match thinking that's a good thing, particularly as Google reps suggest that to you, because the Google reps, believe it or not, they get paid based upon you saying yes to certain things that Google wants them to recommend to you. They literally have a list of, here's what we want you to recommend to our clients. For every one you do, you get a bonus. It's literally a sales rep job. It's not an ad strategist. People get confused because they think, oh, I've used Google forever and I've always liked Google, so Google must really want to help me when it comes to my ads too. And really, they only, at the end of the day, they've hit a plateau in how much they can make without screwing over their customers more and more. And that's what the antitrust stuff was about recently. You just got to be aware of it. And if you are aware of it, it doesn't affect you. And actually it gives you an edge, because all your competitors have that major disadvantage of having this stuff happen to them. And they aren't smart enough to sniff it out, whereas you are. So you have a major advantage. And that's the way that I like it. And as long as you have the inside scoop, it is an advantage. So with that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.
Remember when I said Google search campaign was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.